It was the summer of 1905 when Mr. Sidney Sprague arrived in India. He travelled from town to town and bore every kind of hardship in order to reach the seekers with the call of Ya Baha'ul Abha. Mr. Sprague began his teaching trip in Bombay and from there went on to several important towns until he arrived at Lahore, at that time a part of India, but today a part of Pakistan. In this town he contracted typhoid fever and became bedridden. There were no possibilities of medical treatment, and the disease epidemic had spread to the masses of the people. Those who still had energy left in them escaped from Lahore with empty stomachs and weakened bodies. The small and poorly equipped hospital in Lahore was utterly inadequate for thousands of sick patients. Every day thousands were dying, and their corpses were left in the streets as there were no burial facilities. Under these conditions, Mr. Sprague was ill and about to die. Two of the Baha'is of Lahore asked the Spiritual Assembly of Bombay for assistance to take him to a hospital in Bombay. The telegram requesting this help arrived and was read at its meeting. Everyone fell silent and went into deep thought. Who was ready to endanger his life to go to Lahore? It required a great sacrifice. One of the Baha'is in Bombay, Kaykhusraw Isfandyár, volunteered. He went to Lahore that same evening, leaving his wife, children, and business in the hands of God. On the fourth day after Kaykhusraw's arrival in Lahore, Mr. Sprague's condition deteriorated. He had become so weak that there was no hope of him being able to tolerate the trip to Bombay. Everyone believed he was about to die. At midnight, Kaykhusraw alone knelt by the sick man's bedside. He held Mr. Sprague's weak hands and began to pray thus: O thou kind Lord, thou art the healer. This man has come from the west to the east to teach thy cause. He has an able tongue and sweet speech. I am only a shop owner. O thou powerful one, sacrifice my life for this servant of thy threshold. My life is worthless. Accept this invocation of mine. The next morning, Mr. Sprague opened his eyes. He felt somewhat better. Kaykhusraw realized that his prayer had been answered and that Baha'u'llah had accepted his sacrifice. At midday the same day, the strong and healthy body of Kaykhusraw became afflicted with the plague. It only took 18 hours before his sacrificing spirit, joyful and content, ascended to the Abha kingdom. Mr. Sprague writes in his book, "The moment Kaykhusraw came to my bedside, my soul received an extraordinary power. I felt Kaykhusraw's faith in his movements, in his demeanor and the warmth of his hands. I did not have the strength to speak, but I heard his voice. Every time he held my hands in his prayers, it was as though the strength of his faith spread to my being. Kaykhusraw sacrificed his sweet life for my health, not only for me but also for the cause of Baha'u'llah, which I had arisen to serve and teach." Kaykhusraw's father, wife, and 2 little children came to see me. They were all happy that he had performed such a great sacrifice. His son said, "My father was a shopkeeper who did not have the ability and eloquence to teach. But you can travel to every corner of the world and raise the call of Ya Baha'u'llah Bha to the masses of humanity." Kaykhusraw Isfandyár was the first Eastern Baha'i to have sacrificed his life for his Western brother. When the news of this sacrifice reached Abdul Baha, he immortalized Kaykhusraw by conferring upon him the rank of a martyr. Here is the tablet of Abdul Baha to Kaykhusraw's family. He is God, O ye family and kindred of that enlightened one. The blessed Kaykhusraw tread the path of audacity and loyalty. He evinced noble attributes and acted bounteously. He arose with his entire being to carry out whatsoever is enshrined in the teachings of the Blessed Beauty. His exhortations and his testament in truth, he sacrificed his soul for Sprague and gave up his life for the friends. That pure and holy soul ascended to the splendid kingdom, and that sanctified being soared up unto the exalted heights and became illumined in the eternal realm. His friends and kinsmen ought to be exultant, proud, and honored. They should offer thanks to the threshold of oneness, that from among them such a blessed soul perished in the path of God and sacrificed himself. O Kaykhusraw, thou art the conqueror of both worlds and the prince of the eternal kingdom. Thou wert so dear that thou didst make my senses redolent with thy fragrance. Like unto pure gold, thy countenance glowed in the fire of tests. Thou didst raise up a commotion in the world of being, won the prize of love, accomplished thy goal, and didst hasten forth from the strait and darksome world to the resplendent kingdom. Well is it with thee, well is it with thee. It is the hope of Abdul Baha that he may also be aided to follow in thy way and thus offer up his life for the love of the friends. O thou peerless Lord, do thou nurture this beloved friend under thy care, adorn and beautify his being with thy ornament of bounty. Grant him the crown of the custodianship of the eternal realm, and attire his head with the diadem of heavenly grace. He longed to meet thee, guide him unto the assembly of light. He desired to gaze on thy face, bestow upon him the effulgent rays of thy countenance. He was an eager butterfly. Bring him close to the candle of thy beauty. He was an attracted nightingale. Allow him reunion with the flower. Aid thou his loved ones, and confer upon them patience and composure, tolerance and long-suffering, so that they may be saved from burning in the fire of his separation, and may find consolation of heart from the hopelessness of his loss. Thou art the powerful, thou art the beloved, thou art the helper, thou art the mighty. Verily thou art powerful,